We're so excited to be launching this new Flex option with all of you. And our camera, or I'm sorry, our recording there, our recording finally started. So yeah, it may not record cameras. I'm a little rusty on the Class Connects, I have to tell you, and on New Row. I came in and I was like, where do I mute myself as I go on there? So thank you everybody. If we could stop the side chatting, that would be great. If you do want to type in your hello, that would be wonderful. But I really appreciate you all being here. I think we're going to give it just another couple of minutes, maybe 2, and then we'll get started at 1:03 on my computer to make sure that everybody who is interested in getting in. We're at 220 participants, which is fantastic. I've gotten a few notices from people where siblings are on the same computer. So we have even more Flex students than that are present right here, right now. I will just remind you all that the chat, right? So if you're like me and you've forgotten how this all works, the chat, room chat is what everybody can see. Okay. And then the question mark chat is questions and answers. And that is only what the moderators can see. And so the moderators, we have these little stars next to our name, maybe in your participant lists also. We have some of our Flex teachers joining us here today. So I really appreciate that. And then Ms. Heather Bennett is also here to help me a little bit run the show as we get going. So something I can see just popped up in the questions and answers. And a student wants to know, for us as moderators, how has our summer been? I'm going to tell you, mine's been a little bit busy. I've had over 300 phone conversations with somebody from each of your families to get you all started in the Flex option. And so I've done a lot of work, but I also had a little bit of play. Went to go see a friend. I live in Linwood in Snohomish County, and I went to see a friend up in Ponderay County. We spent a little time there. And then I spent a little bit of time in Coeur d'Alene and got to go to Silverwood for the first time. So that was really fun. Although I will admit I'm a total ride chicken. So I feel like there's a string that used to hold my stomach in place and that now it's gone. And so anytime I go on a ride like the Tilt-A-Whirl or anything, it's a lot. So, all right, we're at 1:03. And I think I'm going to get us launched off out of respect for your time as well. I am recording, which means that if you know someone that can't be here right now, it's no big deal. We just wanted to welcome you as our first group of Flex students, Flex participants. So let's see if we can get the room chat a little bit more on topic, just so that we can track things that we want to make sure we respond to everybody about. So we are going to go through the Flex team today. We have some of our team present, and I really appreciate that, teachers. A little bit of what to expect in the first couple of weeks. Talk a little bit about the big picture, some good ideas, and then I'm hoping we'll have time at the end for some questions and answers, okay, so that we can go through that. I'll remind you now, I'll remind you later that that's not the time for the super particular question about yourself and what your classes are and all of that, but just sort of general questions, okay? I know I have an email backlog. I have to ask my kids to be quieter. Hey kids, we can all hear you. Sorry about that. But I hope we'll get to some Q&A. So let me jump on in here so that we can get started. The Flex team. Who is our Flex team? So I want to talk about the players. That includes you all. There are about 400 of you participating in Flex this year, which is fantastic. And we're really excited to have you. We have gone to a wait list, just so you know. So we are not currently enrolling any more students into Flex, which is frustrating and sad for folks who weren't able to get in just yet. So I don't know, in case you have friends that are on that wait list, I don't know yet when we're going to be able to move on that. Everything is a little bit of a moving number right now, as it is with every school across the state, across the country at the start of school. So, but you students, thank you for being here. You are right in the middle of our Flex player circle, right? Oh, I clicked on the wrong thing. I'm really good at that. And then, of course, learning coaches, right? We have some learning coaches here. Learning coach, you're a really important part of this circle because a lot of the monitoring and the supporting and the teaching really comes with you for Flex, right? Which you know because we've already spoken. And sometimes you have to move closer, right? So you can see that learning coach, right? Sometimes is further away, sometimes is closer. That sometimes depends on the grade, right? We have kindergartners in the room and we have seniors in the room. So Flex is for all grades, which means that learning coach role really changes as things go on. It also might change by subject, right? Like sometimes you need your learning close by, learning coach close by, and sometimes you want your learning coach to go further away because you got it, right? Yes, learning coach is here under student login. I love that. Okay, so that is part of our picture as we go. Gosh, I just keep clicking on the wrong thing as we go in here. Then we have the homeroom teacher. Okay, today I will announce the homeroom teachers. The homeroom teachers run that weekly class connect that you need to attend as a Flex student. Okay, and they also coordinate your student-led monthly conference. Okay, so that is what the homeroom teacher does. But in addition, as we go here, we have the content teacher. This is where we get super complicated, right? Because what would we be if we weren't a little bit complicated here at WAVA? So for elementary school teachers, your content teacher and your homeroom teacher, you're the same for kindergarten through 5th grade, okay? But when it gets to middle school and high school, it gets a little bit more complicated. So we'll get into that in just a minute. Okay. And then, of course, we have special education teachers. So students, those of you that have IEP plans, right? We still have special education teachers that are here to support you in all the different ways that you need. Okay. So, oh, why do I keep wanting to click over there? I got to get my new habits going. And then we also have the host of WAVA resources available for you and Tutor Me. So if you were in grades 6 through 10, oh, I should have made a special little slide about this. And you don't know about Tutor Me yet? This is the 24-hour a day live tutor help that you can get with any of your subjects and courses. So we want to make sure that you know about that. We will push out a lot of that information as we go. But the nice thing that I like about Tutor Me is students, you get to evaluate the tutors at the end, right? So you get to give them a rating just as they give you a rating. And then if things go well, then you can be matched with that same person if they're available next time. So I think that's really great. And then I don't know if the mom is out there, but there was a mom on the phone today that told me that, or on the phone this summer that told me that Tutor Me meant that her daughter no longer had to wake her up after midnight for help with math problems. Okay, so just keep that in mind as we go, and we'll share more information about that as we go along. All right, so our academic team, make a drum roll in your head if you need one. Okay, I'm going to go over what we have going on here. So for our homeroom teachers, okay, Ms. Mitterholzer has kindergarten through 2nd grade. So all kindergarten through 2nd graders will be with her both for content and for homeroom. You already know this, okay? She, I don't think, was able to join us today. Nope. But she's been teaching at WAVA for a few years. She's been in the middle school. And then prior to that, she taught. These are the grades that she taught. So she's really excited to be back teaching kindergarten through 2nd grade. Remember, you'll have a few homeroom options, right? But she is the one that will be teaching all homeroom for those grades. We have Ms. Beckstead, who is here today. She's waving if you can see the cameras there. And she is the homeroom teacher for grades 3 through 5. So if you were a 3rd through 5th grader, that's your teacher, right? Both content and homeroom. Okay. And then for middle schoolers, 6th through 8th, we have 2 sets, right? So you will probably have to wait till tomorrow, unless you've already got a welcome message maybe that came into your email, where we'll have Ms. Beisch and Ms. Nogaki, both of whom are here, but I don't think any cameras are on. Oh, no, they are. There you are. Hi, everybody. See, I just forgot how to use all of these different features inside of here. Okay, so 6th through 8th grade, you will have one or the other, but you will have both for content. So we'll get to that in just a minute. And then for 9th through 12th grade, we have Ms. Osborne and Ms. Taylor. And I know that Ms. Osborne is here. I see her waving at you, but I don't think that Ms. Taylor could make it today. Today's not a technical teacher work day. So these people, you need to say, oh yeah, thank you Flex teachers for being here today. right? Because they're not technically working today. They are supposed to be enjoying the rest of your summer, gang. All right. So, content, right? I already told you that for the elementary students, it's real streamlined. You have one teacher, right? That's how it goes typically. But then gets a little more complicated for those of you in 6th through 12th grade. Okay, so for English language arts and social studies, depending upon your grade, this is your contact for the courses, right? For that, I'm just going to make it up. For American literature, for 11th graders, you're going to need to be reaching out to Ms. Taylor when you have questions. Okay, if you're taking English 7, right, then you'll be reaching out to Ms. Beisch in order to get those questions answered. For science, no matter what grade, 6 through 12, Ms. Nagaki is your contact when you have a question. Okay, you're like, what does this assignment mean? What am I supposed to be doing here? Right? That's where you can get that support. Same thing for math. Ms. Osborne is going to be grades 6 through 12 in math. And then she's also doing some PE work. So she's going to make some of you work out. No, you love working out. Of course you do. Right? So that is how that piece is going. But also, thank you, Abby. We get even a little bit more complicated. PE for middle school and high school fine arts, CTE, and world language electives are going to have flex sections. And this is a little bit of a numbers game. And so, at least for learning coaches that are in the room, you're on the front edge of a brand new thing, right? And maybe on the phone call, I talked with you about how if you've ever gotten a piece of clothing like fitted to fit your body, you sometimes have to stand there for a little while someone's putting the pins in. Okay. Or if you're waiting to get something that's just made for you. If you've never had this experience, students, now you're going to, right? This has been made and designed around you. But we're learning some things as we go. And one of the things is we just don't have enough students to bring over one whole teacher to teach Spanish, okay, to teach French, to teach those CTE classes, to teach the fine arts classes, and PE for for middle school. We're splitting up a little bit. Okay. Yeah, some of you may not have a PE course right now, but just keep that in mind. So you're going to have another little layer. We're here to help you. I just wanted you to know about that as we were going. Okay. Our special education teachers for grades K through 6 are Ms. Lee. Okay, so notice she is putting a little bit of a foot into middle school to make the numbers line up. Okay, and this is Ms. Cheryl Lee. I know that there's a couple. Okay, a couple of Ms. Lees that have been through WAVA lately. And then for grades 7 through 12 are Ms. Sandberg. Okay, and they'll be reaching out to you if that is appropriate for you. I am your flex coordinator. And then, of course, those of you may know we were going to have Mr. Terry Ackerman as our flex principal, but he is now the principal of grades K through 12. And so he has moved into a different role there, which means that Ms. Boyer, the director of academics, is our administration contact as we go. Okay. I think you guys are really funny in the chat, even though I've asked you to not, but I'm not going to worry too much about it because I figure that this is just our welcome. These teachers, though, they're going to be much more stern about any chats. I can feel it. I can feel it from their faces. All right, bouncing on what to expect. Okay, my email inbox, I will tell you, is a little bit filling up with questions about what to expect. The main question is this one. My courses, when am I going to see them? How will I know? The first day of school isn't until tomorrow, okay? So you will find out tomorrow what your courses are. There may be errors. This happens across the country. It is not unique to WAVA, okay? The good thing is that you'll be home when you find out that you have course problems. You're not in the school building. When you're in the school building and you have course problems, you have to like sit in the office or sit in a class that doesn't belong to you until it all gets sorted out, okay? So you're going to be at home. It will all get worked out. What are you doing, Lucy? Just ask me. You want a snack? Have a snack. Sorry about that. But you may have errors, all right? So it's okay. I have a list of the school counselors later, okay? And you should make a note of who yours is. And then you are going to email that school counselor and you're going to put me on there. That way I know what's going on. And then we will get your courses sorted out, Okay, so if you are actually a fifth grader, but for some reason you're in the kindergarten class, we need to fix that, right? Same thing. If you thought you were going to be in Spanish 1, but you're in Java, we'll get it figured out. Okay, so it will definitely be all right as we go. And later on, I have the list of those counselors. We have a whole new counseling team for you this summer. Okay, all right. Another thing to expect. Your parents, learning coaches who are here, signed this flex agreement that talks about doing your welcome orientation and your online learning course, right? This little part right here. Okay. If you missed that, you can watch a recording of the orientation. They're on our YouTube site, right, Heather? I saw that. That was pretty cool. So you've got those on there. So you can go to Washington Virtual Academies on YouTube. Yep, and you can catch out that YouTuber whose name I don't know how to pronounce that Harley's sharing about. Okay. I don't know. Maybe you can't. Maybe it's not appropriate. I did not recommend checking out a YouTuber that I have not vetted myself. But you can watch the recording of that. Okay. And Ms. Heather Bennett hosted all of those this school year, back to school season. And then there's also the online learning course, which you should already see in your online school. Heather, if they're not seeing that there, what should they do? Should they email you? Yes. Okay. Nobody type in the chat for a minute.
Right. So if you are missing that orientation course, the online learning ORN 005 or ORN 010, please email me. Yep, there's another one. Just email me and we'll get that assigned to you.
What is the second one? 001?
010.
010. And one is for returning students and one is for new students, correct?
That's right.
Okay, so that's the only difference in that. You don't need both, you just need one. But do those, right? That helps you get off to the strong start so that you know what you're doing. And it also saves time, right, for your emailing people to be like, what am I supposed to be doing? Well, it's all right there. Okay, and you can get that part as you go. All right. Then teacher contact. So the second part of this flex agreement up here says, what day is the course on? The course just happens. It's there. It's a do it yourself. So I'm going to bop back over here real quick. I saw a good question in the chat. It was helpful. Online learning course. It should be, correct, Ms. Bennett, the only one they see today when they go in. It should be really the only course that's listed inside of there. Okay. Yes, she's shaking her head yes for those of you that need the audio there on that. So all right, teacher contact. Within the first 4 days of the school year, you are required to have contact two-way with a WAVA Flex teacher, okay? You do this, you go to homeroom. Your teachers are going to send you messages, some of them already have, telling you about when the homerooms are, okay? But you need to not only attend it this week, you need to attend it next week. Remember, Labor Day's on Monday. You need to attend it every week, right? Your requirements are reduced in terms of the live classes you're attending as a flex student, but they don't entirely go away. We need to see your faces in these homerooms, okay? We need to know that you're there as we go, okay? I'm wondering, I think some students are a little frustrated by the chat. Heather, do you want to pause that for a little bit for me? Okay, because some students are trying to focus and then it's turning into a little bit of a debate there.
Yep, yeah. No problem.
So, for example, I almost missed the question that Mohammed asked about how often is this homeroom? 1 time a week. Okay, so as a flex student, you attend 1 homeroom a week. Okay, pretty straightforward, but that's where you're going to get a lot of the info that you need. Okay, what day is homeroom, students are asking. That depends upon your teacher, and you're going to have some options. Okay, so rather than confusing all of you right now, you're just going to look to your teacher. That homeroom teacher contact. Yeah, Logan, easier said than done. Logan wants, instead of turning off chat, just leave it on and get people on track. Easier said than done when we have 244 people in the room. So we're going to do it like this, but if you have something that you want addressed, use that moderator chat, okay? And you will communicate with your teacher about the homeroom expectations in terms of chat and all of those things, okay? or cameras and all of those. Like, see, I was distracted because somebody put a confusing thing into the moderator chat, and I got distracted a little bit. Okay, not the moderator chat, the Q&A. Thanks, Jackson. I need that. I'm out of practice, clearly. Okay, come to homeroom. Look at your teacher messages. Okay, Ms. Bennett, does mom have to do the learning course as a learning coach if she already participated in it with the student, watched over the student's shoulder? Do learning coaches need to do the online learning course?
Nope. Nope,
Great.
they sure don't. Yeah.
But I did notice that also on our YouTube page you recorded some of the sessions for learning coaches if they want some tips and tricks and best practices and things. So
That's
learning,
right. And we always recommend, even after you've started school, maybe even a couple weeks in, if you want to go back and watch those recordings, then things start to sink in and you're like, oh, that's what that is. And it's very helpful to go back after you've started working.
Right. Great suggestion. So they're there. It remains. And let me see. Just looking through our Q&A. Good question about students with IEPs. You go to the homeroom with the homeroom teacher, right? Let me bounce back to that slide so that you can see it. And then you do not have two homerooms. Let me go all the way to this one. So you have one homeroom regardless of whether you have an IEP or not. Okay, if you don't know what an IEP is, odds are you don't have one, so don't worry too much about that. So if I'm a 5th grader and I have an IEP, I'm just going to Ms. Beckstedt's homeroom, okay? And then Ms. Lee will catch up with me, okay? And I may have sessions with her if I have what they call specially designed instruction minutes. So that's a really good question. Thank you for asking that question. And things like not having materials, that's another question that came up in there. You should probably send me an email on that and put the materials in the subject line. That way I can see that. Okay. And then I can look in the system and see if they were shipped and didn't get to the right place or if they need to be shipped. If students had not finished all of the registration pieces that were needed, right? We don't ship out materials until a student is 100% re-registered because students sometimes go somewhere else, and then we're sending out materials to students that aren't going to be attending WAVA. So that may be what slowed that down. So if you didn't receive materials yet, it might be your classes don't have materials, like the senior who emailed me yesterday, or we may just need to look into it. Okay, so go ahead and send me an email. And I think we will get that there. All right, homeroom. I think I answered those questions about homeroom. It's funny. I like that there's not the distraction of chat, but it does feel much more lonely, I will say. I'm getting used to all of this. All right, map testing and the WA Kids assessment. Okay. So all students at WAVA, except for the seniors, do map testing several times a year. Okay. For the fall testing window, it's just grades 3 through 11. Okay. So if you are a kindergartner, a 1st grader, or a 2nd grader, you're getting a little break on this, and it doesn't happen until November for you. Okay. But kindergartners are having this state required assessment called WA Kids, and Ms. Mitterholzer will connect with you about doing that. And then 3rd through 11th grade, this is next week after Labor Day, right? That you're going to have your map testing will happen, okay? Your homeroom teacher is going to reach out to you about this and get it all coordinated for you. We're not going to muddy the waters right here with too many particulars about all of that, okay? I'm going to look here in our Q&A real quick. Running Start students. So we have some 11th and 12th graders who are taking courses at their local colleges. That's called Running Start. And they may not have a full course load, right, here at WAVA. And so you still have a homeroom teacher. So just make sure that you're coming to that homeroom teacher. And the student that asked this, I'm sorry, off the top of my head, I can't remember if you are 11th or 12th grade, but typically if you are taking math or reading at WAVA, you need to sit for that map testing. Okay, so you can get into that a little more particularly. You can ask your homeroom teacher also. Okay. A student just wants to clarify. If I understand this correctly, we have one homeroom and we're on our own the rest of the week, but we can contact teachers if we need help. You got it. That's how it goes. Once a month, you have a monthly progress conference also. Okay, so once a week, once a month. Keep that in mind as we go. Okay. Yeah, and if you have particular things going on in the first week of school, that's where you reach out to your homeroom teacher, right? Like if you have responsibilities at the fair and are going to be a little bit less available, right? So just keep that in mind, okay? All right. I'm going to get back to the questions and answers in just a minute, okay? All right. Yes, you can open that box that came. All right, the big picture. So notice when I talked about what to expect the first 2 weeks, look, you got map testing or WA Kids, you've got contacting your teacher, and you've got your orientation and your online learning course. We're not stressed about you starting school, so I don't want you to be too stressed about starting school, okay? Your teachers are going to give you everything you need to know, right? Just like always. So even though you're working and learning independently, they're still here to guide you and they're going to give you that information. Okay. And I know I see a couple questions about particular things. I'll get to those, I promise. Okay. Big picture. I don't want you to forget about this. Okay. You are still part of WAVA, right? You can be as much a part of WAVA as you want to be a part of WAVA. Okay. So same school calendar, right? If there is no school on a given day, then your teachers are not going to be available to reach out to you. If it's a teacher work day, that means that we're all in meetings together. Okay. But the vacation days are the same and all of that. So just keep that in mind that you're still part of the bigger picture. But of course, you get to choose how much of that works for you in a lot of cases. All right. You will likely need to, at time to time, contact somebody other than me with your questions. Okay. We do have a main office, right? It's in Tacoma. They have an email address. Heather, do you monitor that email address? So when you send something to info@wava.org, Ms. Bennett checks into that and sends it off wherever it needs to go. Okay. We have the website, WAVA Bulletin Board, right? This is a really good place to get information. I know a lot of pieces on this are being updated currently. Okay, as things go forward. Some of last school year's things are falling off. I almost put the wrong school calendar up, for example, because the old one is still there. Enrollment. Some of you are having enrollment troubles, right, where you haven't finished the choice transfer request. This is mostly for learning coaches, as I mentioned them. Or the universal re-registration form, and that has caused a lag with your enrollment. So we have a few students here that won't be starting until the 13th because we have to have time to get your materials to you and everything because you haven't gotten everything done. My daughter can't get all the stuff out of the box and she's over here going, I can't get the stuff out as we go. Okay. I would write down right now this K-12 tech support number so that you have it, because if your computer is not working, you might have a hard time locating this, right? And so 866-512-2273, right? That's where you can reach out if you're having some troubles, okay? And then of course we still have the school principals. And so Amalia Wally has come to K through 5. And then, as I mentioned earlier, Terry Ackerman is now the principal of 6 through 12. Okay. Question about homeroom. Homeroom is informational. It's not academic. Okay. So that's one big part of it. It's just coming to make sure that you have the big picture, and they are flex students as we go. Okay. Abby, you're making all kinds of noises. Could you take it a little further away? Well, you're kind of huffing and puffing. She's going into the 4th grade, in case any of you are wondering there. Okay. All right. I'm going to keep bopping through and then I'll get to your questions. Promise. We have new counselors. Okay. So we have almost an entirely brand new crew of counselors. You may know that WAVA had stepped away from the school counselor model and had gone to graduation specialists at high school and a lot of advisors. Those folks are no longer with us, which is hard for a lot of us. I used to be a graduation specialist, and my whole team has moved on to other places, and so that's hard. But these are the names, and I'm sorry for K through 5 and 6 through 8. I don't know the alphabet breakdown yet. Okay, and that is largely because students are getting approved and coming in and it's just changing, right? You'll see when you see the high school ones, the way that they have done the breakup on that is really specific to make sure that Ms. Martin, Ms. Gonzalez, Mr. Hyatt, and Ms. Dorman each have kind of a balanced number, right? Or that wouldn't be too fair as things went along. So these are our elementary school and middle school counselors. They should be contacting you, right, in the first week of school, sending that email saying, hello, here I am. There may be a newsletter or something where that information all comes out. So keep that in mind. If you are in grades 9 through 12, I really suggest that you write this down, copy it, screenshot it, do whatever it is you do to keep track of things, because here they are. High school students, you need counselors a lot because there's certain requirements that you're going to need to graduate, right? Ninth graders who are in the room, remember, to graduate in 4 years, you have to pass all of your classes the first time around, right? Or you have to make up a lot of stuff over the summer, but it's really hard. So really keep that in mind, right? That the courses really count now. But you can see this. If your last name begins with A through CH, then it's Ms. Olson. But if you begin with CI through GN, it's Ms. Flores. Okay, so this is how close they get to trying to balance what they call the student load, right? The alphabet. We sometimes say, gotta balance the alphabet. So from GO through J is Ms. Rivera. K through M, nice and tidy, Ms. Seward, who some of you may know, right? She's been at WAVA before for a while. And then N through SH is Ms. Kavanaugh. And then SI through Z, they are hiring for this position. And the middle school counselor, Mr. Hyatt, is covering that right now. Okay. So make sure that you are keeping that in mind when you need a contact about your courses and all of that. Okay. All right. I will go back to that during the Q&A time if you still need to write down some of that. All right, Ms. Bennett, can I turn it over to you and have a sip of water to maybe talk about this slide?
Yep, that sounds great. Thanks, Ms. Baylor. Hi, everybody. I recognize a lot of you from our orientations and workshops we've been having the past couple weeks, so I'm so glad you're here. And congratulations on being in the Flex program. It's really exciting. We're excited that this is our first year and you guys are here and we'll get it off and running and it's going to be fantastic. So I am Heather Bennett, the Student Success Coordinator for WAVA. And so you can come to me with any of your non-academic related questions. General support, maybe you're just not sure who to even go to. You can just feel free to come to me because I've been here so long that I probably know who you should go to. Platform navigation help, time management, organization, social opportunities, anything that you need help with that's non-academic, please feel free to come to me. Miss Kathy Schwartz will be our student resource coordinator for all of K through 12th grade. And you know that she helps with our laptops. But she also helps with internet resources, government programs, non-school related issues that impact school progress, like homelessness, and social and emotional help and support. But like Kathy and I always say, if you're just not sure even who to ask, please go ahead and come to us and we will point you in the right direction. And thanks again, guys, for being here. So excited for you to start our Flex program.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ms. Bennett, for that. I really appreciate that part. Okay, don't forget, remember, this is the big picture section. So you still, as a Flex student, can participate in any of the social opportunities, the clubs, etc., that you may wish to. Okay, so a lot more information is going to come out as things go on, but this is everything from, the lunch chats to, gaming club, if you wanted to, esports, if you're 12 years of age or older, Wava Kitchen, I like it. The two clubs have kind of been folded in. You may remember that a lot of our advisors ran those clubs. And of course, we don't have those folks anymore. And so things are getting streamlined a little bit as we go. But if you have a talent and you want to be in the talent show and you're a flex student, do it. We would love to see that, right? There are national clubs also, like Lego Club and other pieces. So Ms. Haley Chamberlain is the person that organizes and coordinates so many of these different activities. So just keep that in mind as you go forward, and you can jump in, right? You don't have to start off right from the beginning. You can kind of do a slow start as we go. Okay. Just looking real quick. All right, I will come back to those as we go because I'm not seeing. Yep, a lot of the questions are about other things, so I'm going to come back to that as we go. Don't forget to stay connected, right? Ms. Bennett, do you know if Abby, just unplug it, sweetheart. You can do this later with me. Just go put it in the garage. Real life is interfering with real life right now for all of you. Ms. Bennett, is the community app, is that for learning coaches? There was a question about that in the chat.
Yes, so that is for learning coaches. That has replaced our smaller learning coach pages on Facebook because our community app is it's a better way for families to get in touch with each other, either in the same grades, in the same town. So it's a really great place to be. So please check that out.
Oh, great. A question just came up on that. Who do we reach out to if we get an error message every time we're loading the app?
I think you should contact K-12 customer care, and I will put the phone number in the chat really quick. The phone number, though, is 866-512-2273.
Thank you. Okay. If you type in, like Wava into the internet, you often get directed to a site that's not all that useful for current students. So I want to make sure that you know that where the good stuff is wavabulletinboard.com. Okay, that's where you can go to find out the school calendar, for example. I saw a question about that and all those different pieces. Okay, well, if you go to the other one, it's more about what is WAVA, how do I get started enrolling there, what is this place, as opposed to what you want to know. So the calendar is right here on wavabulletinboard.com. Okay, it's one of the top things as you go right on there as we go. Okay, monthly newsletters come out. So keep that in mind. I'm going to talk about text opting in just a couple of minutes. And then we have a YouTube channel. And I know, I mentioned this in part because I know from working with middle school last year that students love YouTube. It's a place you spend a lot of time, right? So why not subscribe and follow WAVA? That way, if something comes up for you, that might be, oh, this is totally relevant to me, you can take a look at it. Okay, so I strongly recommend that as we go. All right, some good ideas. Yep, if you need to go, we're recording. Sometimes I talk too much, it happens. Okay, some good ideas. The first, and the teacher specifically asked me to ask you to do this. They would like you to opt in to text notifications, okay, to texting with your teacher. So, of course, if you don't want to do this, then don't do it. If it's not okay with mom and dad, grandma, auntie, guardian, whomever you stay with, whoever pays that bill, don't do it. But if you're a student and it's okay with the adult in your life, please consider opting in to WAVA's texts. Okay. And I believe your learning coach, I don't know what you click, you'll figure it out as you go here. But if you go to WAVA Bulletin Board, this here is what it looks like. Okay. And there's a whole section called links and videos. Okay. So you're going to click on that. And when you get into that, it takes you to this giant list. Okay. Third column, fifth one down. Okay, is about opting into text. It's actually a DocuSign. So learning coaches that are in the room, it's kind of an official sort of thing, which is probably so that you don't get some giant phone bill, right? If you don't have an unlimited text plan as you go. Okay. Yes, and so obviously if students don't have the cell phone, then learning coaches can certainly do this as you go. It's really often the high school teachers trying to track down students, right, and make that contact. And it's just a really convenient way because we can do that straight from our like Zoom phone system. And it works really well for parents too, especially if you're working a job where you can't just pick up the phone anytime it rings, right? Sometimes that's pretty useful. All right, for a couple of slides here, I want to talk to grades 9 through 12. We have this wonderful tool that not enough people use. Okay, it is called the High School Grad Plan. It answers so many of your questions as you go. Okay, you don't get a grad plan until you are a ninth grader, right? Because this is tracking your credits basically. So when you go to your online LMS school, right, you go there. There's your name, your login, and then there's these links right there, right? Two little links together. Click on that, and that will give you an option to go to what's called the grad plan. This is the actual grad plan of one of the students participating in Flex, who's a 12th grader, but you can see I scribbled out the name right there. Okay. And notice it gives you right from the beginning. How many credits are required to graduate? 24. How many has this student earned? 18.5. Therefore, in this last senior year, the student needs to earn another 5.5 credits. So this student happens to be tracking just a bit ahead of what's needed because usually it's 6 credits per year, right? So we have a little bit of extra there for this student. So you can see that. You can also see the courses. Okay, so this is for a different student, but you can see courses that are in progress. Okay, hint, hint. If you want to know what classes you're signed up for, you could probably go to this now and see it. You don't have to wait for tomorrow. Okay, is my assumption. I get to see everything maybe from a slightly different look. You can also look back at past courses and double check what your grades are. A student was doing this the other day and realized a grade was not correct, right? And that can get fixed. Okay. Yes. So the counselors will spend some time sort of tagging this up, making sure it's perfect and right. I have a note here from a question from a student that's like, things are not looking right, especially if you're a running start student, it might not look right. Give your counselors a couple of weeks to get in there and then just send a message off. Be really specific and say, my grad plan is not looking accurate. Can you take a look at it for me? Okay. The other thing that it will let you do is instead of sorting here by year, you can sort by subject. And you can just look at, for example, all your English classes. I used to be an English teacher, so I picked that one. Okay. So it's just a way for you to get that information that you might really want to know about as you're going. Okay. So if you get in there and it's a little difficult to figure out, we have a YouTube video for that. It's narrated by the wonderful Nate Tepper, who is no longer working at WAVA, but was a graduation specialist last year. And he has this lovely deep voice and he's very calm and he talks you through it. And it's not the way that I talk, but it's really, I find it really pleasant to go through. Okay. So you just know that this resource is there. It's really important to me that you know that you have that. So I think I'm going to go back to the teacher list slide because I saw a few questions about that. And then I'm going to take a look at the questions and answers that are here. And then maybe we could turn that chat back on. I'm going to, there we go. I'm going to put that slide up right now. And then I'm going to put the counselors up. Okay. So there are a lot, I noticed, of really particular questions about like, are there going to be teacher graded assignments? When are the homerooms and all that? You have to check in with your teachers on that, right? I am not the boss of the whole world, so I don't get to decide all of that. Your teacher knows the courses. Your teacher knows if there will need to be some teacher graded assignments or not. Okay. What if I need to do more than my 10%? And how do I balance all of that out? Your teachers will help you with that, right? So flex students are to be working on a consistent basis through the curriculum, right? We have this 10% marker. Your teacher will give you that guidance. So don't stress too much about that right now. And just know that that will happen. Okay. So I'm just going right back up. Okay, there was the an email about sending back PE equipment. I don't know about that. So flip me that email and I will take a look at that as we go. I talked about fair at the first week of school. Okay, so there are questions. Some of you have registration questions, and that really has to be an email to me so that I can sort it out. And I think that this person also gave me a phone call. I have been a little bit jammed up with contacts, right, as trying to help everybody as we go. Okay. Maybe one of our teachers that's still here, Ms. Beckstead is still here. A student is worried about assignments being late, and this is a new student who hasn't done this sort of thing before. Is it easy to know what to do inside the courses? Can you comment on that a little bit?
I can from the perspective of K-5. So and for students who are returning, you will still have your weekly plan on the online school. There will still be lessons every day for you to complete. You will click on that lesson. It will take you right into that lesson. It will take you through it. There will still be due dates. We can't turn those off. If we were to turn them off, it would turn them off for everybody, and that is not school policy. And we still need to follow school policy, and because we are a public school. If you like to do school a little differently than how the schedule is, and you are in grades K through 5, that's all I'm addressing right now, it is okay. What we will want to see is that you have completed your lessons for that week by that following Monday. So if you like to do all your science lessons together in one day, that's okay. I would recommend against doing all your math lessons or all of your ELA lessons in one day because your brain needs repeated practice or it doesn't go into your long-term memory. And you might remember it up till the unit test, but then not remember it 3 months later. So it's more important with math and ELA to be getting that daily practice. It is not okay to do your entire year's lesson in a month or a week or 3 months. You really do need to pace yourself, and that is a state requirement that goes beyond WAVA, and it goes to what the state expects from public schools. They expect students to be doing their schooling every week, every month from September to June. For the SBA, can I address the SBA questions? Yes. For the SBA, we will be taking that twice this year. It is very different this year. If you'll remember, because of COVID-19, the state made the decision not to do any SBA testing last year. But the federal government mandated that we do that testing before 2022. That means that we need to do last year's test this year. And it will most likely start in mid-October. I do not have the exact dates. I do not know the exact locations. I talked to our testing coordinator just yesterday, and she was out visiting testing sites and getting those lined up. She's been working all summer on this. So if you are in 3rd grade, you will not take the SBA test this fall because there is no test for 2nd grade. If you are in 4th grade, you will take the 3rd grade test this fall. If you are in 5th grade, you will take the 4th grade test, and so on and so on. I am not sure exactly how high school is impacted with this, so I can't address that.
Yeah.
Then again in the spring, in about April, May, we will take the SBA again, and now it will be this school year's test. So third graders will take the third grade test, fourth graders will take the fourth grade test, and so on. So hopefully that answered your SBA questions.
And of course, it's a plan, right? For those that are new, the SBA testing, the state testing, those are the only ones that happen in person in a building where we all come together, right? So that's all got a big asterisk next to it based upon whatever COVID is doing and all of that. So the MAP testing and Walk Kids, that happens over the computer, right? From the comfort of your home. But it is student work, unsupported by learning coaches, right? Tech support only as things go there. So it is, that's a bit of a an up in the air sort of thing with the SBA testing. Okay. Okay, a good question. If you can't attend a meeting, right, like your homeroom, you have that hard to get appointment that's at the same time. That's where you contact your homeroom teacher. You also have a couple choices, right? So, oh, I can't make this one. I'll have to make this one. Okay, and you make that work. So you coordinate individually with the teachers. That's really what a lot of Flex is it's putting the responsibility onto the student and the learning coach to make sure that these things are being taken care of. And I do want to put a big underline on what Ms. Beckstead said about Flex is not for you to race through the curriculum. Flex is there for you to be able to adapt your schedule in a way that works best for your learning and for your family. Okay, so it's really about the scheduling of your learning, the structure of your learning, not putting your foot on the gas pedal and racing through as you go. Okay. I believe that you only need, there are a few exceptions to this. I have a question about, I'm a running start student, do I need to do the MAP testing if I'm not taking math and English? I will get clarity on that, but I believe that you do not unless there is some sort of an exception for some reason. So just be aware, pay attention when the homeroom teacher talks about that, and we'll get clarity on that, and I'll get that to the homeroom teachers. Okay. SBA, SBA, SBA. Homeroom classes are 100% flex students, yes, but you'll notice that they're a mix of grade levels as we go. Okay. Teacher graded assignments are going to vary a little bit as you go. Okay. Yeah, teachers will be contacting you. And the way that you make contact with the teacher in the first week is you come to homeroom. Okay, you come to those homeroom options. You check in with them. So look in your email, check your WAVA email. I have to tell you, I know that you may not love the email, but that's the primary system that we use to communicate with students and families, right? It's efficient. It lets us get the information out. So just make sure that you are learning coaches checking it for younger students, learning coaches checking your own because you get copied on that for older students. But it's really where you need to go. And if you're feeling like, oh, I can't keep up with all these emails, you need to carve out some time, right? It's virtual school. And that's really where a lot of the communication happens, right? So please make some time for that as we go. Okay, so modifications to assignments for IEP students. So that will be a process that happens with the special education teachers in conference with the gen ed teachers. Okay, so they'll be reaching out, and Ms. Lee and Ms. Sandberg understand what Flex is. They were in our back to school meetings, and they're aware of the way that the accommodations will need to be made for students, and they will help to communicate that out. Okay. Somebody said, can you send us that, please? But I don't know what that was. So maybe you could send me an email and then I will know what you'd like me to send out. It might be the list. Can a list of no school days be sent out? Go to WAVA bulletin board, right? You've got this info. I have to tell you that, and this is going to sound kind of grouchy, I spend so much time replying to emails about little things that I can't always get to the big ones because right, go to wavabulletinboard.com and then look for calendar, click, and there it will be. All the no school days are highlighted out right there in in orange, in gray, okay, as you go. The testing that you have to go to an actual building, that's the SBA tests. As we go, app is for learning coaches. I'm going to read this. There's a student who kind of wrote like a cheer on message, and I want you to hear this if you're still here. Okay. 3rd year here. To all of the first timers, I promise this is not stressful. A lot of support and very easy. As long as you have a schedule, you will be okay. I promise. And also communicate. That's all you really need to do. Good luck, lovelies. I love that. Right? Communicating, paying attention, making a schedule. I think that's really good. Okay. Questions about what the schedule will look like for students with expiration dates and due dates. It's important that we leave some of that in there, as Ms. Beckstead was saying, for all grades, because otherwise it's really hard for you to know where you are, right? Where learning coaches to monitor and all of those different pieces. And so you'll have to check in with the individual teachers who will give you that information to make sure that you're on track. Okay. But there's a plan. Remember, picture your course is like a hallway. There are some families that are like little birdies, and they are just so comfortable, and they're flying around all over, up, down, everywhere in the hallway. And there are other families that need flex because life is super complicated, and they're just trying to make their way through the hallway, and they need those kind of handholds on the way, like the railing. And so birdies can ignore the handholds and kind of make their own plan within reason. But that plan is going to be there to support you, because, you know, if you wanted to do a purely homeschool, then you would do that. But this is public school from home, right? So this is different. We have the plan for you. You can adapt it. We're flexible with it, right? That's the idea of being flexible inside there. Yes, Mr. Highstand is no longer with WAVA. He was super fun at the middle school, and he will be missed, but he is no longer with WAVA. Homeroom, yes, required. All About Me slides, again, that depends upon your particular teacher. If you like that, then communicate that, right? Be like, oh, I love doing that. Okay. Class events before the holidays, I'm not sure. That really depends teacher per teacher as we go. Who is my teacher again? I put that slide up. Okay, there's an individual question. If you are seeing 2 sort of welcomes inside of your online school, or you're getting 2 messages, you probably are getting that because you have an IEP, right? And so you have the general education elementary school teacher, Ms. Mitterholzer in this case, and then you also have Mrs. Lee, right, as a contact. Okay. Recordings. This is a good question. So flex students don't have access to the recordings. You're working at your own pace. It's hard for Ms. Beckstead to know exactly where you are, right? She's not making daily recordings. She's conferencing with students. So this is a big difference that happens with flex. If you really need those recordings are primary and like so important to you, or attending live is so important to you, then flex may not be the right fit, right? And we may have to revisit that as we go. So teachers may do, I learned they're called flipped lessons, right? Where they make a recording and send it to you so that you can get some information that you need. But that's not how they're spending most of their time, is making the recordings. So, you know, check in with your teacher about that. If you're feeling like you need extra support, they'll have office hours where they are just available in a Class Connect, and you kind of like knock on the classroom door and come in and say, can you solve some math problems for me? And do that magical math teacher thing where you say all the ideas in your head while you're doing it. You know, it's a different sort of support that comes through Flex. It doesn't quite look like the same thing. Okay, gaming club looks interesting, and Wava Kitchen. Teacher graded depends. Oop, I'm just looking. Where's the calendar located on the bulletin board? Teacher graded. Lots. You're ready. I can feel it. Can't you feel it? They're just ready. Can I do the whole year in a week? We answered that. Yeah, you can subscribe to the YouTube. That would be great as we go. All right. You know, Oh, how do I know if classes are optional or not? Well, the Class Connects you have will list as optional or required, and homeroom's required, and your monthly conference is required, right? It's a little simpler. I'm going to put these counselors back up.
Yeah. And
yeah, go ahead, please, and I'll get sorted out what.
Depending on the teacher, they may invite all students to all 3 homeroom sessions, and they may be listed as required for all 3, but they'll only have to attend 1. So, for example, and now I'm just speaking to 3rd through 5th, but I'm giving it an example of what a teacher might do. For the very first classes, the welcome classes this week, you will see on your plan a 1 o'clock class, a 2:30 class on Monday, and a 9:30 class on Tuesday. All 3 will be listed as required, but you only have to come to 1 of them. But you are required to come to 1 of them. After that, and then for MAP also, you may be seeing 2 different sessions, both required. You have to come to a reading map. You have to come to a math map. You don't have to come to more than 1 of that. With homeroom, though, I'm asking people their preferred time. I'm only inviting you to 1 because I want to build a community. So from that point on, then you'll just have the 1. But different teachers are doing different things. So you'll really want to check with your teacher. But do know homeroom's not optional. Homeroom's required. Student conferences aren't optional. They are required. Open office hours are optional. Social things like the Awesome Club I'll start in October will be optional. So
All right, so I'm seeing a couple other questions here. Can we join Class Connects if we need them? It doesn't work that way, right? And so Flex students don't have access to those Class Connects that are going on over in, I'll call WAVA regular, okay? So that is a difference. Can the learning coach change the daily schedule? For example, the days that the art is coming up. You can't, because there's like one plan. And so there's not a way to adapt that for everybody. You can change it in your home, right? But you can't change what preloads onto the screen. So again, we are giving the building blocks, the handrail down the hallway for the families that need it. And if you are feeling more like the free bird that's flying around in the hallway, then you can change that up, right, for your own student within reason, right? Not just racing through. But if you know, oh, this is the day, you know, we love to do art with grandma. This is the day that grandma comes. Yeah, move the art to that day, but just don't expect it to show up that way when you're inside of online school as you go. Okay. Okay, so Ms. Shaw, send me I'll look at the email. I'm not going to track really well. If you're asking me individual things in this chat, I'm not going to track them well. So make sure you're sending me an email as we go. Okay. Okay, so is that only for K-5? I think that's about, well, I don't know. I'm going to ask really specific questions in here. WAVA doesn't allow for exemptions from state testing, generally speaking. And I will kind of be annoying here. I will own this and say that one of the things here on this Flex agreement is that testing is mandatory for Flex students. I'll just be really blunt. We are held to a higher standard in terms of participation in the state testing than the brick and mortar schools are. And in order to stay functional, we have to have a very high percentage, right, in order to keep our, our certified status, one might say, with the state. We have to achieve a very high number, and it doesn't, quote, matter as much for funding if the brick and mortar schools have good participation in the SBA tests. And so that's one piece of the puzzle and why that happens. But if you have questions about testing, send me a message. I'll connect you with Danielle Beyer, who is our assessment coordinator. But you should really just plan on it. I know that COVID is going to change that for a lot of you because you don't want to add additional risks maybe while you're here. So, you know, it's a hard thing, and I acknowledge that as we go. Okay. The only tests that are done in a testing center are the SBA, Smarter Balanced Assessments. That's the state testing as we go. Okay. MAP testing happens at home. You know, DIBELS, WAKIDS, all of those other assessments happen. Okay. So again, if you have really specific questions about the SBA testing, send them to me via email and then we'll see. But I'll be really frank, we don't have a lot of specifics about that testing yet. We're making a plan because if we didn't have one, it'd be a mess. But I don't know what's going to happen, right? I don't know what's going to happen with those tests with Delta variant and all of that. Okay. Yep. If you've done your time, certainly, but if you have other questions, I'm still looking. Okay. It's really hard for me to know if you didn't do 4th grade and you went to 5th grade from 3rd, what state test you have to take. I don't know. Does it really matter? Right? I'm sorry to say that like that, but you'll notice I'm a little bit upfront sometimes. I don't know what test you'll have to take, and you'll take it and you'll do the best you can do, and it'll be all right in the end, right? You cannot fail high school by not passing the SBA. It's stressful. I know it is, right? And there's added layers of stress for all of that. Okay, resource person email. So let me get that slide up as we've been going. Nope, not that one. It's got 2 sides to it. There it is. So Ms. Bennett, who's here in the room with us, thank you. She's spent so much time in these rooms over the last few weeks. The week of welcome is actually what, 3 weeks, right? You have 3 weeks. So these are non-academic related things with Ms. Bennett. Ms. Schwartz helps with things that are not academic but get in the way of academics, right? So like big life problems, okay, where you need some extra support. This is more like, what am I supposed to be doing with Ms. Bennett, right? Huh? I'm lost. Isn't that what that's what it said on your slide, right? I'm lost. If you're lost, Ms. Bennett. If you're drowning, Ms. Schwartz. Okay. Yep, maybe 2 SBAs this year. I think I've answered a lot of these. Yeah, if your student is going to have like specific appointments and conflicts, find out when those homeroom sessions are. And if there's a conflict, reach out to that homeroom teacher and just say, you know, we need to switch. Ms. Beckstead, I assume that if a student had a one-off appointment and wanted to switch for 1 week to go to a different homeroom, yeah, she's nodding her head. That will work, right? So it's just,
Definitely.
I love that. The community and the consistency inside of all of that, okay? Not optional homerooms. Nope, you do not have to bring computers with you to SBA testing. We provide all of those and ample. We had a plan, right, for last spring. We were ready. I was going to go to the Nile Shrine Center down the road here, right where you get off of the freeway, and I was excited to see some real live WAVA students and all of that. And of course, it got postponed. So, yeah, go ahead, Ms. Beckstead.
Computer question. Last year, because of COVID, when we thought we were doing it before it was canceled, Mrs. Beyer was having students bring their own computers for the best protection against COVID.
That's right.
There were backup computers available if someone didn't have a computer, but that was a change from usual testing procedures. So there's a possibility that could happen this year.
Okay. I have a student who has asked the same question in all caps 3 times. I think I addressed it, but maybe I didn't. So I will do that. I can hear this is like you're yelling at me. You know that, right? In all caps. It's like you're yelling at me in the chat. Classes are optional if they say optional in the Class Connect listing, or if your teacher gives you different information, right? Then like what Ms. Beckstead said, all of my homerooms are required when you look at the Class Connects because she wants to make sure you know you have to come to homeroom, but you pick one, right? just pick a single one as we go. Okay. Again, if you have questions about those things, then just contact the teacher, right? Ask in that homeroom. Oh, thank you, Lucy. Come to homeroom and ask, right? That's what we're for. That's why there's homeroom, right? I doubt that high schoolers are going to receive PE equipment, but if you have a question, send me a message and I can look in the system and see if anything got shipped. Okay. Oh, more yelling. Oh my goodness. Okay. Great. Yep. Recording will be sent. You can go into your Class Connects. It takes a minute, right? We've been going for an hour and 9 minutes here. So it takes a minute for it to process. We go in, Ms. Bennett may have to do that, or maybe I get to do it. We'll unlock the recording so that it's available. And you can just come right back in to online school and click on it, and it will give you the recording. It opens on my computer as a little MP4 down in the corner that the first time I tried to find it, I downloaded, I don't know, 42 times maybe, because I just kept clicking that button and clicking that button to try to get it to happen. And it just, so just think about, where does my computer put things for me? And that's where you may find it. But I'll also send out an email. But you know, you can imagine now my email is now going crazier than it even was before, because I keep saying, well, email me about that and email me about that. Oh, nice things about Ms. Beckstead having you back. If you are still here, the Running Start student that is only full-time Running Start, we need to talk, because it seems that maybe you don't need to be in Flex because you're full-time Running Start. So I think I saw an email come through for you as we went there. Okay. Yep. 7th graders do state testing. Yes. The recording will be there shortly. I will also email it out. How do you join clubs? There'll be a lot of information about that will come from Ms. Chamberlain in the first couple of weeks. And just look for your email for that, Heather. Is that the best way to do that? Yeah. I think it looks like maybe it's an old sign up right now that's already on the WAVA bulletin board, but I was clicking through there today to get info, and there was actually like, just, if you want to join a club, click here, and then you could fill out what you wanted to do. Okay. I don't know if you're joking at me, but homeroom classes are not optional. This is what happens, right, when you put it into the other chat. Yeah, because I know that this student is joking. Can I do the whole year in a millisecond? I can tell that that one's a joke, but can't always tell. The other one, monthly conferences. This is a great question. What are they like? These first ones, really don't stress about any of them, but these first ones are going to be much more getting to know you, right? Finding out, right? Teachers finding out what you're into, why you're choosing Flex, how it works well for you, and all of that, okay? But really, the goal that we get to with the student conferences is that you are sharing what you have been learning over the course of the month as things go forward. They're going to look a little different, right? For Mrs. Beckstead's 3rd through 5th graders, they're going to look a little different than they do for a kindergartner or for, you know, a 9th grader. But really, that's the core of them, is you showing what you've been learning, what you've been working on. And they'll give you lots of guidance on that as things go forward, okay? So there will be signups for the different clubs. Yes, you can go if you need to go. Yeah, this is a good question. Thank you for asking this. The older students get, the fewer materials seem to arrive in the mail, right? And if you think about your own time in what maybe it may have been a brick and mortar school for you, right? When you were in early elementary, you had a lot of workbooks. And then the older you got, you had like a math book that you maybe copied things out of instead of actually working in the workbook. So if you want to double check that you received everything that you need for the course, then do that thing again that I'm going to regret. Send me an email and I can send you a screenshot of what got shipped to you based upon the courses. I learned how to do that. So, all right. Yeah, you'll work with your teacher to sort out which part of your homeroom placement and all of that. Yeah, you have all been placed. This is a good question. My classes page has another flex class. You've all been placed into a class with me, just so that I can send you messages and invite you to things pretty easily. So don't worry, I'm not going to assign you mean English teacher assignments. Although maybe, no? Yeah, the homeroom is the one that matters. Yep. If you find that flex is not a good fit, start with your homeroom teacher, right? And then your homeroom teacher will work with me and we will figure out what it is that you need and help you to get there. Okay. We call this the off ramp. And for those of you that can picture driving on the freeway, you don't just turn off wherever you want, right? You wait for the off ramp. If you just say, oh, I want off, and you turn, you might end up crashing. We don't want you to crash academically. Okay. Yeah. So support class teachers, Mrs. Lee and Mrs. Sandberg will be reaching out to you. Yep, the weekly schedule should be populating tomorrow. Do I have that right, Ms. Beckstead? The weekly schedule, everything should populate tomorrow morning. Yeah. Yep. Yes, this is recorded. I will email it out. I'm behind now. Let me go all the
Sorry,
way
I
to the
didn't
end.
see my mic was off.
Oh,
When it first populates for K through 5, the due dates won't be turned on. It will, and so there might be some differences. At 8 o'clock in the morning, we're going to start setting up the classes. So by the afternoon in grades K through 5, you'll be seeing what you should be seeing. But grades 6 through 12, I believe that will be all set up beforehand.
correct.
But grades K through 5, we're not allowed to do anything in the system until that day.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Oof.
it would be set up ahead of time too.
Right. You know, we're dealing with some constraints, right? A little bit of reality. If you have questions about like your grades and what happens to them and all of that, find this counselor, your appropriate counselor name here. And Mr. Hyatt's amazing. So he is going to be doing a little bit of double duty, covering this part of the alphabet along with his middle schoolers, but just send him the message. He'll help you to figure that out. Okay. You have a lot of really particular questions about like what PE will look like and other things. You'll have the different classes can look a little bit different. Okay. And you certainly can leave if you don't have any other questions. I'm now going from the bottom up. Yeah, we need to talk full-time running start. Let's do that. We'll connect. That's going to be on my list. Okay. I think what grade starts state testing? 3rd grade begins state testing, but remember the fall testing is for last year. As if we can make this any more confusing for everybody. So
if we do October testing, and again, that's always an if, right now that's the plan. Only 4th grade on will test.
There we
and
go.
they will be taking the year before's test. In the
test
spring,
was all, yes.
3rd grade on will test, and you will be taking the current test.
Oh, you know, such a complex thing. Thank you for the many kind words over here in the moderator chat. Yeah, I'm just going to call you Alexis. I am pretty sure you will not have to take the MAP testing, but check in with your homeroom teacher and I will filter that information back through. Okay, so just double check. I don't believe that most students who take math and language arts at the college need to sit for MAP testing. Generally, if you take the class with WAVA, we need the data, right? Because the teachers use this data to know where to help you, right? And how to support you. It's not just, that's the beautiful thing about WAVA. For those of you that are like, oh, MAP testing. The teachers, if I had, when I was in the classroom, if I had only had such a thing, I would have known, oh, this student needs help with this and this student needs help with that. It would have been a dream come true. So for our teachers, it's a really great thing. Okay. Yes, I am checking email, but I know people are calling me. I am frankly just really jammed up. I will just let you know, much of WAVA is working a whole lot of hours, right? I can play my little tiny violin for you and tell you that I've been working till 10 p.m. I know that doesn't really resolve that I haven't answered your questions or gotten back to your email or voicemail. Okay, I'm trying really hard. Yep, you can send that email today if there's an error in the courses. They just won't get it until tomorrow, these counselors. Okay.
And
Great.
starting tomorrow, a lot of these questions can be answered by your teachers.
That's true.
Yes. So often teachers are the first line of questioning. I know it's hard when school hasn't quite started yet, but after that, generally you would email your teacher first, and then if your teacher can't answer it, that would then be passed on, and your teacher would let you know who to contact.
Right. Yeah, teachers are a good source. We have a lot of bureaucracy, and that is really one of the things that Mrs. Bennett and I do, right? Is we help you figure out, how do I actually get through to where I need to be with things? Okay. So there's a good question. I made an assumption here that this was super clear on this. So if the student's last name begins with these, oh, how do I change this color? I want a different color. If the student's last name begins with A through CH, so my counselor would be Ms. Olson. Okay. As would Mrs. Bennett's, as would Mrs. Bexton's. We're the B club today. So this bit is based on the student's last name. Okay. As you go, we don't know yet for the elementary and the middle school exactly how they're going to split out their students. So don't worry too much about that right now, and just throw everybody on there, and they'll figure out to disregard it if they need to. So I'm sorry, I should have clarified that a little bit more. And that's why these get so broken down into like CH and CI as things go. Okay. So Skyla, looks like it's Rachel Rivera. This is where you need, because this is the first two letters of the last name. Right. So anybody whose last name is G-O all the way through. Don't be sorry. Questions are good. I like them. That's what I really will say. This is a really good, if we're close to an ending point, this is it. You don't know if you don't ask, right? And so don't ever worry about asking that, because particularly when we are in this sort of a setting, I can't look at your face in the classroom and know that you are troubled, right? Or that you're not, that confusing face. I don't get to see that. So please, that's a quality that we want. And actually, it's a quality that serves you really well in life. So please, please, please ask the questions. We want that, right? That's really important to us. So I'm going to put this little slide up so that you can see our contact info. And I think that we might be wrapped at 1 minute, 21 seconds. Any other last questions that you want to type into and the 38 of you, well, I'll subtract us. Okay, now it's down to 37. So the 34 of you that are still here, we love it. Thank you. I hope you're not feeling super stressed out, and that's why you're still here. I hope. Ms. Becksted's the long hauler too. She's been here through the whole thing, so we appreciate that. And while tomorrow is the first day of school, it's okay if you don't get the whole big picture all figured out on day one, right? This is the beauty of WAVA and the beauty of Flex. You want to contact your homeroom teacher this week, okay? And that's how it's going to go. Okay, I have a question about Tutor Me. You are so welcome, all of you that are giving the little thank yous. I don't know a lot about the clubs, so I will hold on to ask you to reach out to Ms. Chamberlain about that as we go. Let me get that slide up, because most of you probably already have emails from me in the club. But here's Ms. Chamberlain for leadership. And actually, I'm not entirely sure if it's limited to high school. Do you know that, Mrs. Bennett? I was waiting on the response from that.
I think it's open to everybody.
Okay.
But if you look down here, there are limits to some of them.
Some of them, yeah. I was trying to make this, and I don't know, because not this is rare. We don't always have kindergartner through 12th graders in the same room at WAVA, and so but we can look into that. I don't know a lot about that, but I will talk about Tutor Me. A student asked a learning coach asked a really good question about Tutor Me. So Tutor Me is accessed, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I believe that it's the same. It is accessed. I'm just trying to find through this same little spot. Where did I go? Here. Is that right, Heather? I think that's right. when you go into online school, all of our interfaces look so different from yours. And so this is one of the challenges for me. When you go into online school here, you can click on Tutor Me. It's an outside service. It's not run through WAVA. It's not run through Stride. It's a contract, like we pay to have Tutor Me. And a student types in two things, the general subject and then the specific thing that the student wants help with. Okay. And then you click the button and it sends it out into the, I think, frankly, worldwide. And it sends it out to the tutors that are, quote, working at that time. And they can pick up, oh, I can help with this, right? I know about this. And so it connects you with a tutor. The tutor follows the convention of the student. So if the student has the camera off, the tutor will likely have the camera off. The student can use chat to communicate, but it is quite likely that the tutor will speak, because sometimes, right, typing out the answers just adds another layer of complexity to things. So the tutor can then helps, right? And it might be like, I need help with this math problem. I need help with, it's more about the content of the curriculum, right? Getting help with a geometry proof, getting help with, those equations in chemistry, maybe. They also will look at your pieces of writing, right? Like, I need to have topic sentences and I'm not sure if I have topic sentences. Can you help me understand? Do I have topic sentences? Things like that. And again, it's from 6th through 12th grade only. And they help you. And then when you're done, you're done. You get student gets a little evaluation where you get to rate the tutor. Tutor gets a little evaluation about rating the engagement of the student, right? Not like, did the student understand this, etc., but just more about like, yes, the student was accessible, easy to work with, ask questions, whatever it is. And then the next time you need a tutor in the same subject, if you both rated each other favorably, then priority will be given to that tutor to get matched with. So you could build a working relationship with that tutor. Or alternatively, if the tutor was kind of then you don't have to go back there. Okay. So it won't match you with somebody that you give a negative. Oh, somebody says they saw it today on that link. So maybe I do have all of that right. Okay. I don't know if there's a restriction to Tutor Me. Was it 8 hours per student is in my head, but my head is not always reliable. Does that sound right to you?
That sounds right to me. Yep,
Okay.
8 hours.
8 hours. And I will let you know, we have the contract with Tutor Me through December 31st, 2021. And the best way to keep it around is to make sure that we're using it, right? Because if we're not using it, then we're not going to pay for it, right? So we want to make sure that we do that. So I believe it's 8 hours of Tutor Me. And okay, see a couple questions and then, okay, so I'm addressing this one. You cannot do the whole year's curriculum in a week and turn it in periodically. It just doesn't work that way. Okay. If you want to bust through something and do it really fast, WAVA's not for you. Public school is not for you, right? I mean, it's just not an option inside of this. It may have been something that students sort of slid through in the past. But, WAVA is a public school in the state of Washington through the OMAC school district. It's not homeschool. It's public school from home. So, nope, you can't do the whole year in a week. And I would dare say that if you're doing the whole year in a week or, thereabouts, you're not really getting out of it what you could be getting out of it. And so, yeah, it's that annoying teacher talk time, but that's not really learning. That's just jumping hoops. So I encourage you to have a little mental shift about that as we go. Okay. 8 hours of direct contact time with a tutor per year is my understanding. I will get clarity on that. Tutor.
It's per month. The 8 hours per month. Yep.
Thank you. See, I needed you. I knew it. If we could run the world, we would know it all. Yeah, I don't know exactly how they draw. I don't know exactly how they track that. And, you just log in and be like, sorry, your minutes are used. I really have no idea. If that's happening and you're getting there, then let's talk, right? because if you're needing that much, then maybe flex is not the best fit, right? Maybe you need those live class connects, and we can talk about that as we go. Okay. Yeah, so some students will go quicker through other subjects. So the pacing is always going to be a question inside of flex, right? Because it's where a lot of the flexibility does come from. You'll need to work with the teacher to make sure that your pacing is appropriate. Some students will go really quickly through their portion, right? That month's portion of a certain assignment, and then they'll go quickly because they like it, or they'll go quickly because they don't like it, right? All of that works. Oh, there's the dog bark. There's got to be a dog bark in every live class connect, doesn't there? At some point. And so work that out with the teacher. You might go quickly through something, but you'll go through the month's assignments quickly. You won't go through the whole course quickly as we go. Okay. All right. Anything else out there? Thank you to those of you that are still here. I'm glad it was useful. I know we spent some time talking high school, talking elementary school and all of that, but that's a little bit of the nature of what we have as we go. All right, I guess I'm going to go look at that email and see what I can address. I'm going to see what I can do quickly through the messages that I just got, and then I will go back to the things that I have yet to get back to. But I want to thank Ms. Bennett and Mrs. Beckstead for coming and for sticking through, and the other teachers that were able to pop in. We really appreciate it. Yeah, last question I'm seeing, if the counselors aren't responding, their first day of work is tomorrow. It's a lot. Copy me on those messages, and if it's something that I know about, because I used to be a grad specialist, and because I'm nosy and like to know everything that's going on, rhymes with my name, may have been a childhood nickname that you are not to call me ever. My kids do sometimes. I get mad at them too. Yeah, this year should be, you know, a rough start maybe for counselors that are coming in and have a lot of students that want to know a lot of things. But you'll be in good hands. You'll really have them as you go. Okay. All right, flexers, flex strong, right? Make your strong muscles. I'm so glad that it was useful for those of you that stuck around. I'm sure the people who didn't find it useful were like, see ya, I'm out of here. But we are so excited to have you, and we'll get there. We'll trip a little bit. We'll fall on our faces a little bit, but we'll get there. So have a great afternoon. Enjoy your remaining hours of summer vacation. All right. Goodbye, everybody.